Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So BT8 is right around the corner. So you know what that means. We need to start thinking ahead and planning out what decks we want to play and what decks we want to build. But to build those decks, we do need some cards that already exist. So we need to find out what those cards are and go ahead and stock up on them so that we're ready to hit the ground running day one of release. Also, our new memory marker this month is going to be Kokomon, so if you're playing a Cherubimon deck, this is a fantastic memory marker to get. This is handmade out of clay by my wife. The face will be hand painted. This is our current prototype in working. Very, very cute. Just very, very on point for Kokomon. You can find that on our Etsy page, which the link is in the description below. You can also find all of our previous memory markers there as well, as long as some of our Battle Ready ink merch. So let's look at what kind of decks we can expect to see. One of the main ones is going to be stuff like armors. So Vmon armor, we can already keep that in mind that we need to probably start looking at some blue cards and go ahead and eyeing those up. We also have Imperial, which is kind of the same lines of looking at, stuff like Vmon, as well as, maybe some of the old Imperial support. We'll just have to figure that out along the way. Again, more armor Vmon support there. Not really anything too new for yellow specifically. Hybrids are still going to be pretty predominant. Green in kind of an awkward spot. It's got Shivamon coming, which is a pretty powerful Digimon, but not really looking a whole too heavily at that. We've got Blackwargreymon finally becoming a deck. That's very exciting for sure. But we also need to be looking at X antibodies. X antibody really starts to take off with this set, like really, really kicks it up. It was already kind of a fan favorite in BT7. Now BT8 is going to get even better, and then BT9 it just explodes. So need to be starting to really keep an eye out on that X antibody support. And then that's kind of really it. Purple kind of in an awkward spot this set overall. Ban list hits it really hard with the release of this set. So what kind of cards can we be looking at that we need to start looking towards? All right, so we'll take a look at blue first because blue's got a whole lot heading towards it with the whole Imperial as well as armors. There's a lot of stuff that we need to be taking a look at. First off, taking it way back to set 1.0 BT1. One of the things, the babies, Upamon. We have the anniversary artwork for Upamon is like the best, like absolutely. A lot of the stuff on this list that we're going to be taking a look at isn't necessarily going to be cards that are necessarily going to break the bank. There are commons of pretty much all the cards we're going to talk about. That isn't really a big deal. You can pick up most of these cards for pennies. So what I really want to focus on this time around is looking at like alt arts. Is look at the main as well as the alt art, and a lot of these is picking up these alt arts before they get just even more outrageous. They're alt arts as it is, so they're already expensive, but you can expect they'll get even worse. Upamon being right up there as one of the big contenders because it's in armors as well as Imperial both. So that's a pretty big pickup. But what else for blue can we be looking at? We've got tons of different alt arts of all these different Digimon. But of course, if it's Vmon, you got to look at the anniversary for Vmon as well. So this is another big, huge contender. Pretty expensive already, going to get much worse. So there's builds that use him, the jamming Vmon, and there's builds that don't. You can still get away with buying the cheaper version, but also keep in mind the cheaper version is already still expensive. They have it here as $28. There's no way that card is $28. Okay, I had to just double make sure there. Yeah, he's been sitting at about 8 for a while. You can already see the some of the growth here is he is going up. Okay, so he's already on the incline to start going up and up, and that's even before, we're still a month out from this set, so you can expect him to get much worse, and that anniversary pack is going to just get even more terrifyingly expensive. But to go off of him, we also have Davis. Davis doesn't get a reprint until the Dexmon and MagnaAngemon decks, where they're giving us alt art promos of all these different tamers. Davis is in that, but that's a long ways away. If you're wanting to play blue and you don't have a at least a playset, or at least I would say 3. If you need at least 3 Davis. If you don't have 3 Davis, you definitely need to go ahead and pick them up. If you're looking to play blue next set in BT8, you have to have 3 Davis, like without a doubt. Whether you're playing Imperial or the regular one, the armors, whichever one, you've got to have them for sure. Now, as far as like the Beelzemon support and the old Imperialmon, you don't need anything. Literally everything is going to be all pretty much inclusive, using all new cards. I think one of the only things that carry over is like the XVmon from EX2, but that's a super cheap card, so either way you'll not have any issues picking up any of that. And then for yellow is already just kind of doing what it's still been doing with the hybrid shenanigans, but it does kind of shift. There's a couple different ways. I've been testing the deck, either keeping the purple babies and purple rookies, or switching back to using yellow babies and yellow rookies. If for the Rapidmon, if you want to incorporate Rapidmon, there's definitely some cards you want to be picking up. One card just randomly that I see it, TK, alt art TKs. Whether you're getting the tournament pack version here or you're getting the box topper version, whichever one you want to go with, definitely want to be picking those up. Some MagnaAngemons, we'll have to come back to him, but keep him in mind. Salamons. So Salamons is one of those one of the rookies that works really well in yellow. Any kind of yellow that does a lot of recovery, Salamon really pops off, just for that recovery. If you're at 3 security or left, crash it and then get that recovery. Has a nice cute alt art here. Definitely I think a solid pickup for sure. And I think you can get these for relatively cheap. So if they do go up in price, they shouldn't go up too considerably. The issue is once they stop being in rotation and once everyone gets their sets, that's when they start getting more expensive, because just getting new ones is going to be extremely difficult, especially when people stop wanting to give up their copies. And then Patamon also had to come over here to a TCG player, but the store participant and store champion ones here. This inheritable here, when a Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. When it's deleted through DP reduction, Rapidmon is like the perfect candidate to Digivolve on top of Patamon for 4 Evo cost, and then you delete something with Rapidmon, gain that 1 memory back with Patamon. Kind of makes it into a 3 Evo cost, which can keep it on your turn. As long as you have a memory fixer starting yourself at 3 memory, you can Evo on top of this Patamon and then still keep it on your turn, which is a really important play. So these alt art backgrounds I think are really great. Actually, these are just full artworks, aren't they? Yeah, so the original one from the starter deck here, or you can get these nice ones here. Also, starter deck cards, you really should get a play set of these. Even if you don't want to spend the money to get these expensive ones, I recommend at least picking these up. Take a look at cards like Greymon, right? The red Greymon. That card got stupid expensive because it's used in like every red deck ever. Once Rapidmon comes out, the golden armor Rapidmon, Patamons could potentially see that same treatment. I'm not saying it will, but it's cheap enough that I think it warrants at least picking up a playset just to be safe. If you ever think you'll ever play yellow or Rapidmon, definitely I think a solid pickup. And then, of course, Defeat just holding a solid price for so long now. There's some builds that use him, some builds that don't, for yellow recovery. So with Alphamon coming out, that's like the new main mega, you can run Defeat, and like regular security control, you hope that he gets hit out of security, right? Comes into play for free. Now, if you do hard draw him in other previous builds, it was just a dead card. You're not going to hard play him for 15, almost never going to happen. But now with Alphamon being purple and that can Digivolve on top of yellow, you toss Alphamon in there as your main mega and then Digivolve your hard drawn defeats on top of that. Perfect. So it really fits in with security control and yellow hybrid extremely, extremely well. So if Digimon car or DigimonMeta.com is accurate in saying that's going to be a tier 1 deck, Defeat could go up significantly if that deck just absolutely explodes. Unfortunately for green, I don't really have any good recommendations. Like I said, Shivamon could be a deck. I think it's going to be a rogue deck just because it doesn't hit everything. It turns off your opponent from playing options, right? But if an opponent isn't playing options, then it's not going to do much. With one of the best decks being Beelzemon, that deck doesn't need any options. It just has gas. Literally, it can kill you in 3 turns without playing a single option. So you really like the Shivamon doesn't do anything against that deck. So you got to be really careful. So I'm not going to make any kind of recommendations for that deck. It's kind of it has a whole lot of, all of its stuff is kind of self-contained in BT8, but no overly like big expensive cards I don't think you need to worry about. All right, so it got X antibody coming out, right? So now is the time. If you haven't already, these cards are going up and up and up. I'm already a bit late on this one for you guys. I'm sorry. But I'll go ahead and cover it now. If you haven't already, just expect these prices to continue to keep going up. The Wargreymon, maybe not so much. This one's really good in BT7, but once we get to BT8 and especially BT9, this card just disappears from all the decks, I think. Dorumon, though, staple. In every single X antibody, black X antibody deck, this is an absolute staple, powerful card. You can see its price is already significantly more than this one because, yeah, people recognize this is nuts. Gaining memory every time you do these effects. It is once per turn, but still extremely powerful. So there's this artwork. There is a pre-release one, which is cool, which is a step down from this, but it is still a decent step up, I guess, because it has the pre-release. Now, remember, these are rare, so they're both hollow, so it's not like this is a common and this is a rare. Those are really nice upgrades. The big one here is Wargreymon. This is a common, but the pre-release version is a rare. You see his price tag represents that. That's usually when you see a significant price between these and the main set ones, is if there's a hollow upgrade. So taking this white border and upgrading it to a hollow border is a pretty significant increase most of the time. So that's why these prices reflect that versus the Dorumon not really being like that. Also, he has an alt art that is the extreme, like, awesome alt art. And then the Sunazaramon, this card's in an awkward position. So if you look at its price, right, it's really peaked out at that 38, but it is dropping it, but I don't think it's going to drop long. Okay. This is really kind of like one of the buy points. Like right now, I know it feels expensive, but if you really want to play this deck and you really want to play it in like future sets as well, I think this is a great card to pick up. It had a sort of reprint, right, where stores that bought more boxes from their distributors got copies of this. And so if you went to your store and bought a full box of an old set, you would get a single copy of Sunazaramon, which is, I don't know, buying boxes of old sets where the price is, you're not going to get much value out of those boxes. It feels kind of off. If you have a store that sells those boxes for already a discounted rate, cool. That's really awesome. But if not, it's kind of awkward. But either way, that reprint caused the price to plummet a little bit. I mean, $10 drop is pretty significant. So it definitely seems like a good time to pick this up if you haven't already and you're playing X Antibody. I will probably be picking up a playset myself, honestly. Out of everything on this list, this is one of the best price drops I've seen so far, and I'm definitely excited to play this deck. So seems like a solid one to pick up. And then, of course, you got to get your Alphamons, right? These prices are they're getting higher and higher. Alphamon, when it first came out, was pretty low. I mean, I think let's check the trend on the alt art. Yeah, look at this alt art. Oh, my God. I mean, don't you feel real bad seeing that, knowing that you could have picked it up for 32 and now it's 50? So, yeah, now that we're getting closer and closer on all this X antibody support, especially Alphamon support specifically for BT8, is just filled with tons of Alphamon support. So definitely a solid one to pick up. That alt art is beautiful. I want one of these so bad. I've yet to get one. I've got one regular artwork, but I wanted an alt art so bad. Like, that is gorgeous. Absolutely. And then with like we talked about earlier, Blackwargreymon now, that this is a very powerful deck. In BT9, when it gets, Gatomon, it gets even more powerful of a deck and actually becomes kind of a relatively good contender for meta. You need your support cards for that. Most of these cards are super cheap. They've all had so many printings. Like this, the Agumon from the starter deck, it's had 1,000 reprints of different rarities and different artworks and things like that. But this old promo one that gives a plus 2,000 DP buff, this one's a little bit trickier to get, and especially promo cards. Like I was talking about, promo cards are one of those ones that are always a pain. If they ever become meta, then their value just skyrockets tremendously because there's so few of them in rotation compared to main set cards. If you ever look back at like Palmon, right? When we had Palmon or Pulsemon, when those were huge meta contender cards, those were very expensive. And then Agumon could definitely become like that same exact situation. And then leading right off of that, we've got Greymon from the starter deck. Actually, the price has come down a little bit. I think he was at 18 for a point, so being back down to 13, actually not a bad time to pick him up, just because finding reprints of this guy is always a pain, or just waiting for them. There has been some, like the Tamer Party Pack, which is crazy that it's actually the same price because that artwork is super cool, and this is a lot more limited of a card to find. So that's really, really cool stuff, but again, we've had, some reprints. Okay, I didn't even know there was a Judge one, $200. Holy cow. But I feel like it's getting reprinted maybe in the Dexmon or Ragna deck, but don't quote me on that. I feel like I heard that somewhere. But either way, though, these are really solid cards. If you ever want to play red, especially a red deck that does like Evo into a big stack, like Gatomon and Blackwargreymon do, definitely a must-have. Absolutely. Dexmon, this is a great card in Dexmon. Dexmon's getting a deck soon. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for your starter deck Greymons. And then Lucymon, yeah, so we actually get to talk about some purple cards here. So purple is going to be in an awkward spot for main set BT8. However, Mastamon, the starter deck Mastamon is actually pretty awesome. And being able to play free level 5s, just no restriction, you get to play a free level 5 from your trash. 14 play cost, whatever, doesn't matter. I think Chaos Mode Lucymon is actually a pretty solid pickup. And prices, not that bad. The regular art, $20 for a secret rare from any Digimon set is pretty good, especially a card like as powerful as Lucymon is. I think it's a great pickup for sure. Even in the alt arts are still kind of pricey. They could go up more. I could see a $15 increase on these pretty easily, and then the regular artworks could at least go up by another 10 to 15 as well, pretty easily, especially once Mastamon comes out. We're still in this flux of we don't know really where the meta is going, because our BT8 meta is significantly different from JP's meta, because we're losing stuff like Savior, we're losing the Eismon, so purple is going to be in a really weird position, I think. But either way, if you're going to be playing a Mastamon, playing free level 5s, Chaos Mode, pretty solid pickup. And then I kind of hinted at him earlier, but MagnaAngemon, BT1 MagnaAngemon, still sitting at $18, up to 20 there for market price. And then, looks like we've already got the buyouts coming for alt art MagnaAngemon. So we're just talking about with Mastamon being able to play free level 5s. That also works for yellow. So you can play these free MagnaAngemons. So go ahead and pull it up for you guys just so you're aware, and I just don't want to missay anything. So when Digivolving, place a yellow or purple Digimon card from your trash on top of your security stack face down. Then if you have if this Digimon DNA Digivolved, you may look at your security stack and play a level 5 or lower Digimon card in it without paying its memory cost, then shuffle your security stack. So yeah, you get to pick a level 5, any color out of your trash, and then be able to play it from your security. Sorry, you can place a yellow or purple from your trash onto your security, but then the playing is just anything. So if for whatever reason, if you have a level 5 red in your security, you could technically play it. But picking from trash has to be yellow or purple. So yeah, MagnaAngemon, a pretty solid card, because this is a multicolored deck, so you're using yellow and purple. You can fit this guy in there super easily. So if you look there, looks like we've already, the market price is still down at 28, but it looks like the lowest listing is 33. So there's already people buying them out, going to drive this market price up very quickly. So they've started. Okay, just keep that in mind. The buyouts on some things have already started, especially these really popular ones. These really popular decks, definitely expect it soon. So these are must-have cards, I think. I think they're really, really powerful. I've got my playset of MagnaAngemon from whenever I played Security Control, and it's just not even, doesn't even go in the trade binder. Like, there's just no way I'm offloading these. There's just too many situations where they can be really good and super abusable, because the on-play effect doesn't have a restriction of like 3 or less security. It's just, if you have 10 security, you can play it and gain another one. You know, it doesn't matter. So anytime cards that can come out that could potentially abuse being able to play him for free, absolutely I want that. So MagnaAngemon being able to do exactly that will drive this card's price up quickly. Now, the promo Gatomon here, this is more of just a guess. I think these prices are totally worth it. Look how much they've fallen. Like, look at this massive drop here. Now, they did peak down at 269, but it looks like they're already, maybe, possibly, I know it's not much, but it looks like there is a trend going back up. As cheap as these cards are, I say pick them up. Pick up a playset of these. Again, being able to play this for free out of trash, or play from security for free with MagnaAngemon. MagnaAngemon being able to play this, get a free recovery, and MagnaAngemon is also a purple, so you're going to get your blocker. That's a pretty solid card, I think. I think it's definitely worth picking up and just seeing. We'll see if it actually makes it into the overall big meta decks, but I think it's at least good enough that you could splash it into these MagnaAngemon decks just for some fun, until we find out if it actually makes the meta list or not. And that's going to be it for my BT8 recommendations. But if you made it this far and you stuck around, I want to reward you guys with a little bit of extra info. So I'm going to tell you some cards to get before EX1 and a couple cards to get before BT9 that I think are going to be really, really popping off. One of which is going to be Gallantmon. I think picking up some Gallantmons is a pretty solid idea, because in EX2 we're going to get, you know, all that Gallantmon support and Guilmon support. So like these alt arts, you know, are super awesome. You know, they're getting more and more rare. I think they're going to get even more tricky to find. If you want the store participants, you know, whatever. There's tons of different flex options you can go with. You can go with the store championship on these. Some great targets for sure to pick up. But I think picking up some Gallantmons, even if you don't necessarily know if you're going to use this one or not, you know, at least might pick up the cheaper version, because these prices won't stay low. I think though that if they're going to drop, they could maybe drop a little bit more. But literally 2 weeks into BT8, people will already instantly look to EX2. And remember, the gap between BT8 and EX2 isn't that much, because EX2 is a side set. We don't have to worry about that standard, whatever is it, 3 months or whatever between sets, because it's a side set. It doesn't fall into that same category of a weight. And then, of course, I've got to mention Beelzemon as well. These prices have just jumped up considerably. I remember I bought a alt art for a friend for Christmas for $20. Okay, a week later, they announced EX2 Beelzemon support, and this price doubled in a week. I mean, literally between a week and whenever it actually. Like, the day it shipped out was the day these releases came out. So I was like, oh no, the seller's going to cancel my order and relist it for a higher price, because that's what sellers do on TCG Player. But no, they stuck to, they sent it out. And then, yeah, all the online sales went from like $20 to 40. And then at one point they were at 60. So these prices are crazy. I mean, remember, these are old school 1.0 secret rares. So finding these are going to get more and more difficult. And this is a great card because it can warp Digivolve on top of any Impmon. Whatever Impmon is there, it is this Beelzemon's effect that allows him to warp Digivolve on top of any of them. So I think it's very, very powerful. And then being able to Digivolve your level 7 on top of him is really, really good stuff. So definitely some good pickups for sure if you're going to be playing some Beelzemon. I know it's not going to be the most meta deck because, what is it, stupid D-Reaper has no levels, so Beelzemon deck won't affect it, but I think the deck still looks so cool and so fun that I think it's worth it anyway. If you're a Beelzemon fan like I am, I think it's worth it, for myself at least. And then we got the Palmon promos. We're looking at some BT9 support. BT9 has OTK Green coming back. So, we have to grab up some Palmons. So we did get a Digifest stamp version as well, which will definitely have probably a little bit of a higher price, but I mean, same art, they're both hollow, so it's not overly too crazy. But this card, a month ago, was $6-7. I shared it to my Facebook group, or not group, but my Facebook page, telling people that follow the page, hey, pick up these Palmons because they're going to go up in price. Literally, they doubled in a week. And we're so far out from BT9. We're so far out that these prices, the fact that they're already going up for that set doesn't come out till what, October, something like that, and the prices are already going up. That's how hype that this green deck is. So Palmon is definitely going to be like one of those must-haves, and that's just because of this card right here. Look at this trend. I told you it was like $1, and it's already up to $7. It peaked. I'm sorry I'm late for you guys, but it's like, if you haven't already, follow my Facebook page, because I'm always trying to throw out tidbit information that doesn't deserve a whole video. But this is a great one, a great example of cards that, because of BT9 meta in Japan, people have already started picking up. Now, this is still a cheap price, $8. You can get a play set for, what is that, 20, 30 something dollars there. Not too bad, but it's going to get worse. Okay, we're so far out. This card's going to just keep climbing and climbing and climbing. You might even find people in your local community that just have these tossed in a trade binder because they don't really care about it, because they don't look that far ahead. You could still probably get these for some good trades for people that just don't care about them. So definitely worth picking up. I mean, that trend right there should just tell you plenty of why you shouldn't wait anymore. Wargreymon, I want to go ahead and talk about this one too. Gonna be very, very powerful in the future, way down the line, way down into BT9, and then when we get Dexmon support, things like that, it's a good alternative level 5 for a whole lot of decks. But we've got X antibody, red Wargreymon X antibody, and I think this is a great addition potentially for that deck. Also with yellow Wargreymon being able to digivolve on top of this, and you can attack twice, that sort of thing, being able to play free tamers, really, really good stuff here. So X antibody Wargreymon, with yellow Wargreymon or red, whichever one you prefer, I think the alt art's definitely worth picking up. It's at a kind of a low spot. I remember it's been at a pretty steady 18 for a while now, so for it to be down to 14 right now is a kind of a surprise. So if you want the alt arts, which the alt arts in person, if you haven't seen them, are gorgeous. This gold on this flash on this gun here, super, super gorgeous to look at. So I'm a big fan of it. But even then, the super rare version, still $4, and it's from Great Legend, which, that, again, the further we get away from these old sets, the harder they are going to be to come across these kind of cards. So definitely worth picking that up if you're going to be playing some Wargreymon X antibody in the future, especially if you're a yellow Wargreymon fan. These are going to be probably must-have cards for you. And of course, if we're going to talk about Wargreymon, I actually have to, show the Wargreymon here as well. Alt art's down to a pretty low number here, 13s, 13 to 15, not too bad. I remember trading for these guys when they're at 30s. So this is pretty low. Look at this. If you don't have a playset, 50 cents, pick up a playset for $2. Yellow Wargreymon X antibody. It's a thing. It's coming. Okay. Surprisingly, these Wargreymons actually have a little more value than I expected. They are, again, from BT1, which is a harder set to obtain for a long time. Alt arts here, $20. That's not too bad. If you're going to play a red variant of the deck of X antibody, this is going to be a pretty solid one. These cards are hard to come across. And people that wanted these cards got them, and then they either stopped playing the game or whatever. People have quit the game since these cards have come out that are just hoarding them, and they're never going to see rotation again because they're in these collections. Okay, they're Wargreymon. Okay, the first red Wargreymon, that in the first booster set. you know, alt art. These cards are just like in that collector rare sort of situation where these cards will just always have value forever, and as long as the game just lasts and lasts and lasts, these cards will just get more and more value. I mean, look at Blue Eyes White Dragon from the very first Yu-Gi-Oh set, first edition. Those cards are so expensive. So that's kind of where these old 1.0 cards or BT1 cards are going to fall in. It's going to be, these alt arts are going to be so expensive one day, especially the big names, Wargreymon, Omnimon, you know, they all fit in that same category there. But yeah, alt art, Yellow Wargreymon also, same thing as before. That gold looks super good in that alt art foiling. And then I just want to caveat again, the Greymon starter and the Agumon promo that we talked about earlier, same thing for this Wargreymon X antibody deck. Those are great additions for this deck, you know, giving that 2k buff to all your Greymon, and then the security attack +1, you know, security attack +1 on a Wargreymon here, the yellow Wargreymon attacking twice. Oh man, that's like straight Dexmon vibes right there, okay? Like really, Dexmon attack twice. It's like one of the most OP things ever. So OP that they limited Savior to 1 to stop them from attacking twice. Yellow Wargreymon gets to do that too, okay? And then you throw some other support in there with him. Very powerful deck. So long video, but I hope it was helpful for you guys. I'm definitely not going to go back over and do a quick recap because there were so many cards. But if you did make it this far, I'd so appreciate that. I hope that you can benefit from this video some way, some shape, or some form.